There's a manifestation epidemic that is going on right now on the interwebs and across the world. And it's absolutely imperative that we discuss this manifestation epidemic because it's ridding our society and the whole community as a whole. What's up, guys? My name is Nico Rapkless if you're new around here, and we're shifting things up. If you look through some of our other content, you'll notice we have never done a video quite like this, but I got some inspiration to do some whiteboard videos, and I'm gonna go deep because this has to happen. This needs to happen. I don't like using that word often, but this needs to happen. There's so much misinformation that is just getting spread like wildfire. And I'm gonna go in. So I got fancy with it, bought a whiteboard, was drilling holes in here. This thing fell down earlier. But I'm going in. I'm gonna start making long form content, 30, 40 minutes. I'm gonna go deep into these concepts because they have to be had, right? I just got off a call with our editor, and damn, like it's so insightful learning from him and just seeing his perspective, understanding things. And 'cause he's been deep in this world of manifestation, 19 years, right? But still not quite to the point where he wants to be. And so on this video, I'm going to talk about why that is and why so many people experience that and how you can actually get the most out of this. And so if you're going to watch these videos, watch these videos. I want you to go in with me, watch the entire video, learn these things, take notes, put what you are learning in the comments. Because if you're not taking that approach, and that's actually something we're going to get to here in a second, if you're not taking that approach, it's actually pushing your manifestations away. I'm not just saying that to get more views. Okay, I'm going to explain a concept that has served me incredibly well, that I've learned from my millionaire mentors that have done, hundreds of millions of dollars online, and what's actually created a lot of results for the most successful people in the world. So if you don't want to learn from me, that's fine. I don't care. Okay, you don't need to subscribe. You don't need to watch my videos. But if you are going in on me, go in on me. If you're going in on someone else, go in on someone else. But this whole idea about constantly being bombarded by 100, 500, 50, even 20 messages a day, learning from all sorts of different influencers, has got to go. So let's dive into this stuff. And so, as mentioned, I bought this whiteboard. And look at this tiny little eraser. It's adorable. Absolutely adorable. Okay. Now that we got that passionate rant out of the way, let's talk about this. So what actually is this manifestation epidemic that's spreading like wildfire? Well, let's just like to illustrate this. But it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. That's the wildfire. It started right here with some misinformation. But here's the thing that goes down on YouTube. I see it every single day, and it peeves me. And I even partook in it a little bit. Right? I'll be completely honest. But what happens is someone makes a video. Okay, let's just call this YouTube. And then what happens from there is that it gets a lot of traction. Gets a lot of views, right? It's not based on if the information is right and it's amazing content and it helps people. It's more so people see that like, oh, I could see how that would be beneficial. I could see how that might help. But it's all based on perceived value, not actual value, right? And so what happens from that point on? If this video gets a lot of traction, goes up, boom. Awesome. So what happens now? You see the next YouTuber. There's a concept known even today as viral trend hacking. Viral trend hacking or viral hacking. That means if you see a video that goes viral, hack that video. Why? Because it's proven to get a lot of views, and therefore, if you recreate it in your own way, you'll get lots of views too. That's how it works. And then it spreads like wildfire. where it goes, this guy, this guy, this girl, this girl, this girl, this girl, this guy, this, all these people are making the same damn video, and it's going fucking crazy. It's ridiculous. And even though it wasn't even that valuable of information that actually helped the community, helped people understand this as a whole, it had little flakes of wisdom in there rather than the whole thing. And now it's just become obnoxious. And then people are taking this as truth and like, there's so many videos made on it, it must be true, it must be true. And it's just spreading like wildfire. And again, people are hungrier than ever to get views these days, right? Because it's becoming a much more scarce commodity at this time, right? So that's how it's absolutely spreading. So that's why I want to make these videos so that I can share this knowledge. I've been studying this stuff for nearly 20 years. I've invested north of 100,000, probably even close to $200,000 on learning manifestation, law of attraction, emotional conviction, frequency, reality creation, all these things. Like, I've been doing this for a long, long time. I learned from some of the best people in the world. I've gone to masterminds in Bora Bora and all across the world, right? To learn this stuff at a very core, deep level, right? And I'm going to go over a lot of these type of things, but I just had enough. And again, like I said, I'll just be totally transparent. I started partaking in this viral trend hacking. I saw some videos that were getting some really good traction, so I decided to make them in hopes that I would start going viral. And I think God didn't allow that to happen because he wanted me to serve in a different way and actually speak the truth that is going on in this world that's completely messed up right now. So let's keep rolling. So what is really what's the truth here then? We'll get into that here in a second. But again, here's one of the things, is that if you're not taking notes, I'll know. Actually, I won't know. But I'll know a person that knows. No, I won't know that either. I won't. But it's only going to hurt you, right? And I'm explaining why. So take notes, leave your notes down in the comments. Let's really start building a community for the people that are sticking around. If you're not wanting to do that route, that's fine. Unsubscribe. It's no big deal. But we're laying it down here. So let's do this. Quality versus quantity. Okay? I've got some major beef, as I was kind of explaining here, with short form content, right? Got all this content. All this content. It's a million different things going on over here. Million different things. Okay? Then you have the people that are studying in this route. Like 1, 2, maybe 3. And just going deep. Right? And actually what I want to do, as opposed to this, that didn't work as well. Instead of spraying this, I'll lay that down right there. But this is the reason that you're not manifesting at the rate that you want. Okay? And if you were manifesting at the rate that you wanted, you probably wouldn't be on this video. So let's talk about this. There's a story that goes as, they asked Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, what is the most important thing in business? Do you know what it was? Did you answer? It's focus. They both said it's focus. And so this directly applies to manifestation and just creating your reality, okay? Business is a major component to creating your reality. A lot of entrepreneurs on this channel. So it's directly applied to this as well. So think about this. Let's say you want to Manifest a $100,000 a month business, right? But you're getting so scattered that you're trying this thing and 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 this thing. Or you're listening to this guru, you're listening to this influencer, you're listening to this influencer, this person, this person, this person. You're going these directions, and that's great, you're taking action. But what's happening? Your energy is getting so spread thin that you're just so discombobulated and you have so much going on. As opposed to if you just limited your focus and you applied the same amount of energy. Right here, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the actually same amount of energy, but you're getting this much more results because of the fact that you focused, which comes back to our concept of quantity over quality. This is why you're not manifesting at the rate that you want. It's not why you're not living the life that you want. It's why you're not creating the life that you truly desire. So how do we fix this? Well, I got you. It's kind of a long process here, but stick with me here. It's going to be worth it. And doesn't it kind of sound cool? Just this. I don't know if you guys are picking that up on the mic. We'll find out here. This guy back up here. I don't even give that little guy a name. Who can come up with the best name for our little guy that erases the board? Let me know. So, how do we go quality? Well, that's what I'm talking about here. Okay? One of the things that I did that made me the most amount of money and helped me truly understand these concepts on a very deep level. If we're talking about going deep, again, how do we do this? Like, what does this actually look like? Okay, well, we discovered what it doesn't look like. It's not following a million different influencers, watching a YouTube video here and there, understanding a little bit, but no. It's taking one person, maybe two, possibly three, and you dive deep into those concepts, right? That's how I've always gone about it. I study people, okay, as opposed to just like glossing over, getting information here and there, being on Instagram, scrolling, going on a YouTube video. I go deep and I learn these people. I study them, hours upon hours upon hours. I even stumbled across a new person that I got a lot of insight from, and I've probably already consumed about 20 hours of his content. But I didn't just consume his content, I studied it, okay? Study it. Why do we do that? Well, it's so that I can know it. And again, this is why I keep talking about why it's so important to take notes and put those notes down in the comments. Because if you're not truly studying this stuff and understanding this stuff and knowing this stuff, there's no way that you actually can bring your fruition into reality, right? You have to know it. And I'm going to talk about what is the most important thing when it comes to manifestation and creating the life that you want. Starts with a F. I'll just lay it out right now. It's frequency. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So until you know the information at a core level, deep here, it's a knowing. It's not just I studied a little bit or I saw that one time. It's I know it. I know the core and I can actually teach it. See, one of the most powerful things that I've ever done is I learned this concept known as space repetition. Okay, it means to continually to consume the information until it starts getting integrated literally into your DNA. And you can change your DNA by just continuing to immerse yourself in what's called space repetition. It's such a powerful concept. And that's how you start knowing this stuff. Then it becomes part of your frequency. And once it's part of your frequency, then that's when your frequency is elevated, and that's when you attract that same frequency. But here's the thing, is that once you lose the knowing, and you say, I just kind of understand that, I'm having a hard time with this, I don't quite grasp that, that's when you don't really know it, and that's when your frequency drops. Right? It has to be a part of you. It has to be a knowing, because then you start pulling that stuff in. Okay? So, it's all about knowing. That's why we are going deep. That's why you want to take notes on these videos. That's why you want to leave comments about what you are learning. And the stuff I'm going to be dropping on you guys here on these videos. And I was doing 90 videos in 90 days. I was realizing I was just kind of just pumping content to just pump content. And it's good to get that stuff out there, but I really would rather go deep on these concepts. So, let's talk about the next concept. And what really, this hurts so many people. So many people with frequency. So let's talk about frequency and what elevates our frequency and what actually pulls our frequency down. Because if we're in agreement, which is just truth, what actually is pulling us down? What actually is raising our frequency? You know, I have this video that I'm going to post on my Instagram. And it's actually part of a video. I actually just finished creating it. It walks you through, it's like it's a brand new video, really breaks down the framework of our woo and do process, specifically for entrepreneurs that really want to take things to the next level and get out of their stuck revenue that they may be at. I'll have a link down in the video description. But there's a video within that where there's a tuning fork. All right, that's tuning fork number 1. Tuning fork number 2. And maybe I'll even throw it on here. But then there's a ping pong ball attached to this one. And then over here, put number 2 here. They hit the tuning fork. There you go, bop. They bop it. They bop it. Okay, but here's the thing, is that based on if these frequencies are a match, the ball will either just stay right here or it'll bounce off. Okay? So basically what it is, like, and I always like drawing this out from a financial standpoint, a money standpoint, because money is nothing more than energy. Money is energy, right? So the example that I give is, let's say you're making $10,000 a month here. That's the frequency you're on. And you want to be making $30,000 a month. Okay, and let's say that this is the frequency of this tuning fork. Okay, we hit that, and because these are not a vibrational match, there's nothing going to be happening to this ping pong ball. It's not going anywhere, right? Because they're not a vibrational match. And even if we bop it, we bop it right there, there's frequencies that are held off that, because they're not vibrational match, the ping pong ball stays exactly the same. But what happens when you get on the same frequency? You get on the frequency of $30,000 a month, we bop it, the frequency goes out, and because of that, boom, the ping pong ball starts swinging. It hits this, and then it just goes boom. They hit it again, they bop it again, more frequencies go out, boop. Right? That's what's the power of getting on the same frequency of that of what you desire. So the question is, how do we actually get on the same frequency? Well, first off, I think it's really powerful to not ask that question, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? I tell you this concept, saying all it is about getting on the same frequency of your desired reality. Okay, we'll put your desired reality and your current frequency, which frequency and vibration are two completely different things. I'll explain that here in a second. But this is your current frequency. All it is about getting on the desired frequency, and you'll gravitate this money right to you. That's all it takes. And so I explain that, and you're like, okay, Nico, I get it. You're supposed to get on the same frequency of what you desire, and all of a sudden that'll come in. And that goes for anything, relationships, health, whatever it is. And you ask how. But I'm telling you, stop asking that question. Because inherently, if you're asking that question, there's a level of resistance. Saying, how? How does that actually happen? A question I absolutely love asking, instead of how, I like asking, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Because it's all about getting clear on the what and the why, and the how reveals itself. Okay, the what and the why, you focus on that, you focus on moving forward and taking aligned action, which is something we'll get into. But you can't just ask how, because that's resistance, and then it's immediately dropping your frequency. You go boop. How drops the freak. Can't be freak dropping. Okay? So, that's one thing where you just accept it and just internalize it. And that's why, again, I come back to the whole concept about these videos. It's why I can't just teach this to you and in one video, all of a sudden you get it. All right, that's why I'm making these videos. That's why I'm going deep within these videos, and you want to keep coming back to these videos. You know, hit subscribe. Well, not subscribe, obviously subscribe, but like the bell notifications or whatever the heck it is, where like you get notified when new videos drop, because I'm going deep on these concepts. It's not about going wide, it's about going deep. And the more that you listen to these videos, whether these are mine or someone else's that you resonate with more, the more that you understand these stuff and truly come back to the whole fact of knowing. Knowing comes from spaced repetition of constantly learning, studying, go deep. You start actually knowing this stuff. Once you know this stuff, that's when your frequency starts aligning. But the more that you ask how, I don't get it, how? I'm having a hard time, how? I don't understand that. Teach me more. I don't understand it. How? I don't get it. This is a difficult concept. You don't know it. Okay? You don't know it. Until you know it, your frequency won't be where you want it to be. So, how do we actually, with that said, like what is it that gets our frequency? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And most importantly, I want to talk about what actually drops our frequency, because that's more important than anything. So I'm going to share with you that. And we're just getting started on this stuff, guys. We're going to be dropping plenty of videos on this stuff. We're going to go deep. Real deep. But there's basically two ways we can look at your frequency. Okay? Two ways. Two ways on raising your frequency. And you'll notice, if you stick around here, like the people that are going to succeed and really start raising their frequency, I love talking in metaphors. Okay? So this metaphor, it's a terrible drawing. Don't make fun of my drawings. The metaphor I was like drawing about our frequency is a hot air balloon. Okay, so there's basically two routes we can go with a hot air balloon. So if we want to raise our frequency and get that hot air balloon higher, right? We want to raise it up. We want to go to the top. We want to put hot air in, right? We're putting hot air in the hot air balloon. That's one way to go, right? You want to raise your frequency. But what might also actually be even more important than putting hot air in the hot air balloon, what the heck are these things, right? These are sandbags. And so if we have a bunch of sandbags all over the place here that are pulling us down, isn't it more important? Isn't it at least equally important to eliminate these sandbags and get them off, drop them, as opposed to just putting more hot air in the hot air balloon, right? If we have, and especially like think about this, like think about if the hot air balloon was tied to the ground, right? Had these tethers right here. Doesn't matter how much hot air you're putting in the hot air balloon, doesn't matter, it's not going up until you let go. You cut these, right? Like boom, gotta cut these. Gotta pull down and take off those sandbags. So what am I really talking about here? How do we release the sandbags? We understand that like raising your frequency so that you can be at the vibrational match of the, the 30K a month or whatever it is that your goal is, whatever you want to manifest. If that's the frequency that you want to be on and you want to get to that frequency, it's more about cutting the ties down here, releasing the sandbags so that you can immediately go up. You'll immediately go up, right? You just cut everything out, all of a sudden, boom. And then you get on that frequency, right? So what does that exactly mean? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, and this is really where the epidemic really is. Okay, on top of everything I've shared, this truly is where the epidemic is. Because we are flooded in this world, the society that we're living in. This is part of the epidemic. This is like the major thing. And this is what it really comes down to of why overchoice and overstimulation and overconsumption of little consumption over lots of different influencers instead of going deep like I was talking about. Really what's happening is that we're getting distracted. Okay? We're getting distracted. We're getting distracted. We're getting distracted with things that are pulling us down. Again, sandbags, tethers, the things that are pulling us down. So what are those things? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's all comes down to some level of addiction. It's addiction to social media. It's addiction to porn. That's actually something I've struggled with in the past, to be frank. And it's interesting. I didn't even think I'd ever really share that stuff, but it's true. And so many guys, especially, I know women do as well, have challenges with that. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed, whether it's any type of drugs, whether it's the opposite sex, having sex. It could be anything. Food. The overconsumption of all these things, these are the tethers. These are what is pulling you down. And I know for me, it's mostly social media and some porn here and there. I've done a little bit better here across time. But I'll tell you this, like specifically with alcohol. I quit alcohol like 3 years ago. I think it's almost 4 years ago. It absolutely changed my life, right? Because now I didn't have that thing that was pulling me down. It's just like that one was like a tether. And it's not even that I had a big, addiction to it. It wasn't like I was drinking all the time, but it was just something enough that like pulled me down. It anchored me down. And so if you have an anchor, if you have an addiction in some capacity, which we all do, we're all just addicts walking around, that's what's pulling you down and not allowing you for your metaphorical hot air balloon to go up. So it's absolutely imperative that you eliminate and get as close to eliminating these distractions. And so one thing I want to share here, I believe it was Matthew, okay? Matthew 4, 1 through 11, I believe. So I've been getting really deep into the Bible lately. And so I look at the Bible in a few different ways. One, it's really a guide to help you living your best life and bearing fruits. Okay, I'm not reading the Bible just to read the Bible and be able to repeat scripture. I'm reading the Bible so that I can improve my life. And so I was reading Matthew 4, 1 through 11 today, and it was basically this story about how the devil was just tempting Jesus. Jesus went on a 40-day, 40-night fast, and then the devil kept on tempting it. Said, hey, just jump off this cliff because you know that the angels are going to save you. And he's like, hey, just eat this bread. Right? And basically the story, what he was really coming to is that like Jesus just kept combating him, but ultimately the devil was just tempting him. He's just tempting him with the little vices. It's the weed, it's the alcohol, it's the food, it's the sex, it's the porn, whatever it is. He's just tempting you with a little bit, saying, here, have a little bit, have a little bit, have a little bit. But what happens to a little bit? And this is why I'm wrapping this all up together right here, is that a little bit becomes more, and it becomes more, and it becomes more, and it becomes more, and it becomes more. And it starts spreading all over the place, and now you're so overwhelmed with all these different things, and you're literally addicted to all these different things, as opposed to going deep on one thing, going deep on God, going deep on your mission, going deep on your relationships, the relationships that matter, going all in on your finances, going all in on your business. Right? It's this epidemic of constantly having all these different things, and it always starts with a little temptation. Oh, just look at that social media post. Oh, just go check the porn site one time. Right? It's a tempt from the devil. And the devil, I'm not saying is like a horn figure, right? It's that tempt within yourself. The two minds versus the one mind. If you've got two minds, it's the devil and God. Or whatever you want to call it. Right? The higher self and the lower self. It doesn't really matter what you call it. There's always this duality. And the more that you focus on that duality and you keep on sparsing yourself thin as opposed to going deep on one thing, keeping strong faith, eliminating the doubts. Because the moment that you start falling into these temptations, that's when you start having the doubts, because you've fallen to those temptations. Your word doesn't really mean it that much. But when you say you're going to do something, you do it and you stay focused, that's when you have the results that you truly desire. And again, the more that you can stay consistent with your word, that's when your frequency starts elevating. Goes back up. Okay? So as you can see, I'm quite passionate about all this stuff, and I can go deep, which is something that we're going to be doing. But I want to make these videos in a way that provide a lot of value to you guys. Okay? And again, like I said, if you don't want to watch these videos, you want to watch them all the way through, you don't want to take notes, you don't want to read them in the comments, you don't want to ping with other people, you don't want to get engaged in our Skool community, that's fine. Go do your thing. But for the people that want to be here, for people that actually want results, they want to bear fruits. This isn't about just like being consumed. I saw that video. Oh yeah, I saw a little bit of that. Oh, I saw a little bit. How many times I've heard that of like, oh yeah, I think I saw that, is alarming. I would much rather see you go all in on somebody and be able to teach things to me. Like be able to take this video, learn it, take some notes, share some stuff in the comments. But then you're having a conversation with somebody else later at dinner and you can say like, these concepts changed my life. They helped me drastically about like not spreading myself thin and really learning stuff. And your ability to actually explain that shows to you that you actually know that stuff, which then therefore is raising your frequency. And we're going to talk a lot about frequency and other ways on how to really raise that, how to understand it, how to really have that knowing. Such powerful things. Lots of good things coming up. So if you're done with that, subscribe, guys. If you want to join our Skool community, all the links will be down in the description.